Hello, friends. We need to talk about what I'm seeing here at the stores in Pennsylvania. Things have definitely changed here. Saw a lot of different things change since the last time I was here at a Walmart, at an Aldi, at a Sam's Club. In the past 2 months, things have changed more than it seems like in the past year. I got a lot to cover with a lot of different changes. Perhaps you're seeing the same things where you are. We got a bunch of outages that I'm not quite sure what's going on with those things yet. I'd like to see if you guys are seeing these same things as well. So without further ado, let's jump right into the pictures. Once again, this is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. All right, so the first thing I saw over at Aldi was this mostly empty bin of potatoes. So that was not what I was looking for when I was like, I need to get some potatoes because I just got back. And look at these potatoes, like all of them had sprouted. That's not good. I mean, it wasn't just 1-2 bags. It was all the bags in there. And it's just like, so I didn't get any potatoes. So that's one thing I saw that I was not real happy with right off the bat. Another thing was, this is, like I said, Aldi. They had some pickles missing here, different kinds of pickles. So I was just kind of seeing if that's a thing. Is anyone seeing any pickle issues out where you are? I know a bunch of you guys are having issues with eggs. So $2.96 eggs here per dozen. If you buy big batches of them, we'll look at what Sam's Club looks like for that. But that's a lot more than what we're paying, like $1.40 3 or 4 months ago, right? That's a little more, plus a limit of 2 on there. And that limit of 2 is basically across the United States. I'm hearing that from all over the place. That gap right there is canned mandarin oranges. So not sure if that's a thing or if that's just, one out. I am just getting back here, so I haven't really gotten my feet really kind of wet with what things are looking like, so I can tell if things are just kind of one-offs. This is something interesting at Aldi. They have their generic, they're basically the Lipton sides or the Knorr sides now, bag rice dishes and stuff like that, 95 cents. That's actually a pretty good deal. So if you're looking for some cheap food, that works. They had 107 per pound butterball turkeys, and I'll show you in a little bit. They actually had some non-name brand young turkeys for, I think, 77 cents, but limit of 2 there, but that's, because that's a loss leader. They're just trying to bring you in the door. Luncheon meat is still a good way to stock up on animal protein. So if you're looking for fats and animal protein, $1.95 per can. If you don't want to eat it straight out of the can, I promise you that. Unless you really do. Basically, you fry that up, slice it up, fry it up in a pan, and then it gets nice and crunchy and tastes kind of like bacon, kind of a cross between bacon and sausage. And that's a great way to get your protein. I got, let's just say, just a few cans like that in my stockpile. Tuna fish. Foil pouches seem to be out, but the ones with the crackers seem to be in. No other issues with the things that they at least had on the shelves. Aldi's very good about just taking shelves away. If they don't have something, they just make that space disappear. So unless you were there the previous week, it's hard to kind of tell what's going on. But ramen noodles used to have a lot bigger of a space. So very, very small space for ramen noodles. That had me kind of worried about that or concerned about that. But when I went over to Walmart, you'll see that for yourself that it was actually pretty big. I'll show you what my shopping cart is like too, so at Aldi here, so you can judge whether I'm doing better on eating healthy. So you can let me know what your thoughts on that. But virgin olive oil had a bunch of missing items there. Of course, we have the olive oil shortages happening out there. Cottage cheese. Now, when I got over to Walmart, you're going to see the cottage cheese is an issue over there too. So certain dairy products are having issues, and one of them is cottage cheese. Ground beef, I was trying to get an idea of what kind of prices I'm looking at here. $4.17 a pound, frozen. 3-pound chubs. There's the 77 cent per pound young turkeys. So, yeah, you can get some good stuff. This is my shopping cart right there, so you can check that out. Getting some vegetables, trying to get more individual stuff without lots and lots of... now, there's going to be some things you're going to not like the shredded cheese, and, you know, it is what it is. Now, before we get over to Walmart, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. The phone number is right up there. If you want to get some more information about what it would look like to transfer some of your IRA or all of your IRA over to gold, that's something you can do. If you give them a call, you can get some information about what that would look like. Do make sure you mention this channel because they do waive the setup fee if you do move forward with them. Great folks over there. You'll love them. So many of you guys have sent me emails after working with them, and you guys can't seem to say enough good stuff about the folks over at Genesis Gold. And I've talked with a bunch of them myself. Fantastic people. They really care about people, and it's good stuff. So frozen potatoes seem to be pretty good, and given the state of the fresh potatoes, I was a little concerned about that, but not really seeing issues with frozen potatoes. Canned chicken breast, that's like $2.20 a can. That's not good at all. And now they do seem to have a really good deal going for Keystone meats. So I'll make sure I mention that in just a moment here. But I loaded up myself because I was like, wow, that's actually a pretty good deal on Keystone meats. And I think it's kind of widespread, so you guys might want to do that too. I'll talk about that. I was looking for Lipton teas, but apparently they were over on the left a little further down, so they did have them. The tea section actually looks pretty well stocked. Canned fruit section, there's been changes here. Hard to say because it's just they moved so much stuff around. Applesauce, some of that's fronted. I don't know if that's a thing, but it is. And it seemed like we have a little bit better selection of canned fruit than what we had last time. The coffee section has shrunk dramatically. The generic coffees as well as the Folgers seems to be really, really shrunk. Maxwell House is about the same size section as it used to be, but there's, Folgers, not sure what's up with that. Of course, we have the bad coffee harvests that have happened this past year, particularly in Vietnam and Indonesia, and that has made the cheaper coffee beans to be more expensive than what they normally are. It's driving all coffee prices up and coffee availability down, mostly in third world countries, though. Peanut butter, looking fairly good, at least with initial glance, but then noticing that there's less generics available and there are some holes on the shelves, so we'll keep an eye on that. Canned green beans, 50 cents. That's a deal right there. So if you're looking to stock up, canned green beans for 50 cents, that's how much they used to be, friends. That's how much they used to be. So like a year, 2 years ago, it was like 50 cents a can. Now, sliced carrots, that's 96 cents a can. Whole potatoes in a can, 96 cents. I don't usually like talking about prices because I know different areas of the country have different prices, but I think their canned goods are relatively stable price-wise unless you're in a large city. Canned meats, more Vienna sausages available, but other things seem to be a little bit less available, particularly other canned meats. It seems like they keep getting replaced by chili and manwich. Manwich, of course, has no meat in it whatsoever. All right, let's talk about Keystone. So normally those Keystone beefs down at the bottom there, $9.88. Now your prices might be a little bit different. Those are for the 27-ounce cans. They had the 14 point something cans, so basically half the size of these big cans. They had them for $4, which would be like selling these bigger cans at $8, which is $2 cheaper than what they're on the shelf for, which means that's a really good deal. Now, they don't have them here, I don't think, because they had them on an end cap. So if you're looking to stock up on Keystone beef, check out the end caps and look for a sale. I think it has something to do with Thanksgiving. They're using it for like or pushing a product of some sort. It's like to sell this other product. So look for the Keystone 14 ounces for $4. It may just be here, but let me know if you're seeing that elsewhere too, because I basically got as many as I could get into my cart before embarrassment would take over. So I got like 10 of them. Anyway, good deal. And I like the smaller sizes too, because they're more convenient than the bigger sizes, especially for an individual like me. Of course, I do plan on having people with me. So Lipton sides, or the North sides as they're called now, they had a lot of gaps there on the shelves. I think people really are pivoting away from fast food, and they're moving towards these kind of instant prepared meals or sides. 20 pounders down there at the bottom, they do have those. There, I have a project coming up. I need to get some a cache put together. So I'm going to try to put together a year's supply of rice and beans into a cache that's going to go underground, but at an undisclosed location, friends. So I'm hoping that Walmart's going to deliver a whole bunch of rice and beans to my house in the next day. I will hopefully have a video on that over on Poplar Prepper by the end of this weekend or early next week, hopefully, on just how to put some buckets together, you know, or in this case, probably barrels. Probably going to use food grade barrels to put them together. Very simple, very easy. Just if you're using something that has a gasket that seals, you can just use oxygen absorbers and moisture absorbers. All right, I got distracted, sorry. You guys got to rein me in. I just distract myself. Other rice and beans options there. Vinegar, we've been having issues with vinegar. It looks pretty well stocked there, though some of that's a little fronted. That's fronted. I'll keep an eye on that vinegar. Let me know if you guys are seeing an issue with vinegar. Of course, if you have an update or something to share with me, make sure you use the word update somewhere in there to get to the right place. Anything that you're seeing firsthand, particularly, or conversations you have with store employees, that kind of stuff, we do put those together in our updates. Mashed potatoes looking actually fairly good compared to what we're seeing before. They were having some issues with the boxes not being, they lost one of their brands. I think it was Hungry Jack. They lost it for a while. It seems to be back. There seems to be plenty of stovetop stuffing. I don't see quite so much of the generic stuff. So if you're looking for generic stuffing, that might be a little more in short supply. So think ahead and grab it when you see it, if you're going to do it that way, because I think it tastes basically just as good as the stovetop stuff. That's my opinion on it. But all right, tuna. Tuna over here looked pretty good, and they had the foil packages. So didn't seem to be an issue like over at Aldi, so maybe there's just one-off over at Aldi. Other meats that they have here, this is where they used to have the canned beef stew. They had whole shelves of it. Now, this is the canned beef stew section. Down at the bottom, out of the way where you can't see it and you have to bend over to grab it. Friends, they don't want you to buy beef stew. Use that information however you wish. They used to have generic, great value beef stew. That was pretty good. And I have a whole bunch of that in my stockpile because it was a good thing to stock. It was a meal that's all ready to go. You could just dump that on rice and throw some soy sauce on it. And tasty. Ramen noodles was in short supply, or a very small section over at Aldi. But over here, plenty of ramen. In fact, more ramen than was there before I left. Pasta looking pretty good, and Campbell's soup. That is definitely shrunk. A lot smaller than what it was, and it's all the canned soups smaller. It looks like there's more great value brands. These look new. I do not recognize these. So apparently they rolled out some new labeling for their great value soups. Potentially in preparation for Campbell's pulling back. I don't know. But the other thing my question was, okay, so they got rid of all the soup section. What did they use the space for? And the answer for that was ramen noodles. They literally just use the space to put more ramen noodles out. Apparently, they want you to move off of meats and vegetables and over onto fried noodles. Less broth than what there should be out on the shelf. Still having issues with the beef broth particularly. All right, some nuts were a little low there. I don't know if that's really a thing, but it was low. Crisco, so if you want your candle, your winter candle, get your great value shortening there. That's the cheap way to go. I did crunch the numbers before because I was very skeptical of those candles and everything like that, but when you look at the energy involved in the shortening, it's actually not that bad of a fuel source, like heat-wise. You actually get some, you get very little heat off the candle itself, but over the long haul, it actually puts off comparable heat to the same kind of weight of like kerosene or something like that. And it's actually kind of cheap compared to those other things. So it's not a bad way to heat, but you may need to burn it a little faster than candle version. Anyway, oil, vegetable oil, some of it fronted a little bit. A lot of big jugs, 1 gallon jugs of canola oil, vegetable oil. Obviously, that's not very healthy stuff for you. But I don't think they really care. Olive oils have some outages here and there. Some of it's fronted. You can see that kind of fronted there. Yeah, they're having issues with the olive oil. We've known that for since last year's harvest. This year's harvest, I think the word on the street is that we're actually looking at a pretty good olive harvest. So that olive oil shortage should start to go away, I think. I will give you more updates on that as we get some harder, faster numbers. I should have gotten some of those numbers in Spain while I was there because that's one of the main regions where they harvest olives. But I was up in wine country, so it was all like vineyards and stuff. All right, fake butter, pretty well stocked. Cream cheese, pretty good. Butter, lots of butter. So fake butter and butter looks pretty well stocked. But that gap right there, that is cottage cheese, friends. Cottage cheese, a bunch of missing sections there. There's some varieties that you can still grab. Also look up the dips. That's a very high margin item for Walmart. And usually they're very well stocked in the dips, and they don't seem to have that much of them anymore. So sour cream seems to be a bit of an issue, or at least in the supply chain. Eggs, $2.97, just like over at Aldi. The availability looked pretty good on the eggs. Milk looked fairly well stocked. Some of the creamers were having some issues, some like the half and half there. But actually, overall, looked fairly pretty good. All right, I was looking at beef prices. If you get the 10-pound chub at Walmart, you're looking at $3.17. But of course, those chubs, you get those chubs and you use them right away because they go bad real fast. Eggs over at Sam's Club. If you buy the giant jumbo pack, you can get them down as low as $2.29 per dozen. But that's what, 5 dozen or however many dozen is in those boxes. One of my favorite things to get at Sam's Club, one of the few things I get at Sam's Club, are the bottled water. I like it because they do filter out the fluoride. So there is no fluoride in there. If you're worried about microplastics, then that's probably not your thing. But it is cheaper than getting a water filter and doing that. And I find the bottles convenient. So I do like those. And they're actually cheaper than buying like the gallon jugs. So when you look at per ounce, it's actually cheaper. So that kind of pays for its membership. Every time I go there, I get the free samples and I get the packs of water, which I use to not poison my mind. All right, friends, if you guys have updates, please do put them down in the comments down below. If you want to check out another video from the channel, there's one right there up on the screen. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold, there's a link up on the screen there too. You can just tap on that, or you can scroll back to where I put up the thing, and you can just give them a phone call and ask them directly. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.